Hey, good evening, folks, and welcome back to Call the Bullpen after a couple weeks off there. Hayden and I have been crazy busy with our schedules with finals, and I've been working with the Rubber Ducks, and Hayden's been doing IBI on site, going between all three Ohio minor league affiliates of the Indians. But it's good to be back. We're going to hopefully be back on a regular basis throughout the rest of the summer. Um, We got a lot to talk about tonight. The Indians right now. I'm not watching the game right now, so I have to pull up the scoreboard. But the Indians were up by 3 the last time I checked. But I'm of course joined tonight by my good friend Hayden Grove. Hayden, what's that looking like with Corey Kluber right now? I hear that he's struggling right now in the fifth inning.
I just turned the game off to focus on this. He was pitching. He had 13 batters in a row. He retired. Then he allowed a double. Then he got an out, a strikeout, and then he walked somebody. So, or he allowed two doubles and walked somebody. So we'll see if he can't get out of this inning with just one run allowed. But he's been pitching well. But the last couple of batters he struggled with.
Mm. And that's been a kind of a running theme for the Indians right now. As far as their recent success has been, uh, getting strong starting pitching from the rotation. I know Masterson fell apart a little bit yesterday, and hopefully Kluber doesn't do the same. But overall, I would say that over the last 7 to 10 starts, I'd say we've seen some very good starting pitching, and that's what's really helped the Indians win 3 straight series, and hopefully they can do the same here in Toronto.
Yeah, they need to continue to win series. I know it's early. It's still May, but I mean, you want to see them hover around the 500 mark and then, make a run at some point. And I kind of want to see, if you want to see them get over the 500 mark so that they can make a run. You don't want to see them, um, drop below that mark at all because I mean, you don't want to see him 6 games under 500 again because then it's just that much more of a struggle. If you can stick around 500 and make a run at some point, then you're going to be in a good position. But if get any lower than that, it's going to be tough to make up. So again, they're 3 games under right now. If they take one of these games against Toronto, um, they'll be at 2 or 3 games around 500. So again, you just want to stay around 500. Hopefully they can get somewhere within the next couple of weeks. They got a couple big games coming up against Detroit. It'd be nice just if they could, grab a series here or there, or grab a game here or there against them. Maybe win that series. But again, you just want to stay around 500, and thus far they're doing it.
Yeah, but it's starting as we were talking before we went on the air. We're getting to that the quarter mark of the season, and we're getting to that point where we can say, oh, we're getting to that point where we can't really say it's still early. I mean, it still is, but I mean, at some point there has to be a time where you have to say, these guys got to start picking it up, and hopefully this recent success is just the start of a lengthy, uh, successful run for the tribe.
Well, the thing is that right now, I mean, the theme is the starting pitching. They've had great starting pitching, and they've been finding ways to win without their bats. So, if their bats can wake up at any point, hopefully that'll mean that the pitching is still there, and you're going to see them win a lot of games if they can get the bats going. But this year so far, it's just been one thing after another. Be it just first it was the I don't know. It's right now. There's just a lot of things going on with the offense. Carlos Santana not driving in runs. Swisher, Bourne struggling as usual. Bottom of the lineup picking it up, but again, these bats are going to have to get going if they're going to make any sort of run. And I mean, you expect it to because these guys are average or career averages are just way below what they normally or their averages currently are way below what they usually are. So we'll see. We'll see. But again, right now they need to lean on their pitching, and hopefully guys like Kluber can continue to be leaders for this team right now.
Yeah, so back to the game update. I just pulled up the score. Corey Kluber got a strikeout to end the 5th inning, so the Tribe is still up 4-1 after 5 innings. His perfect game and no-hitter are over, but he is still pitching very well.
And Michael Brantley was pulled from the game with mid-back tightness.
Yeah, that hopefully it sounds like it's mild. Hopefully it doesn't develop into anything serious because they cannot afford to lose him, especially with Carlos Santana and Swisher and Bourne struggling, as you just said. Although Santana did connect for a 2-run home run tonight, so the power is still there for him. It's just all about being able to drive the ball when he's not trying to hit home runs. And that's been the problem for him this year. But the power's still there, the plate discipline is still there. It's just he's connecting that in between there where he has to connect with the ball without trying to swing for the fences. So that's what he has to do. I wanted to bring up our poll question tonight, which I posted on Twitter, which is who will be the Indians closer at the end of this season. Now, if you missed this news, John Axford, whom the Indians signed to be their closer this year, has been pulled, at least temporarily for now, from the closer's role after some ineffectiveness that led to him, and a couple of blown saves that led to him, Tito making the decision to pull the plug on him for now. And he just never really got it fully put together. Even when he was going well and racking up saves, he was still was allowing base runners, and it was kind of more of the same of what we've seen from out of the 9th inning for Tribe closers. I mean, I know that's been said a lot, but to me, I still think that Axford can still be effective because I've seen flashes of what he can do. I mean, he's got that good fastball slider combo, and then he can finish batters off with that knee buckling curveball. But with him, it's all about command and location. Got to get the ball down. Got to throw strikes. Got to get the ball down. But so far, that's been the sticking point with him.
I don't like the whole closer idea. I think it's an outdated idea. I think it's an idea that worked for a while, but I think these days, unless you're groomed to be a closer, I mean, unless you have just an unbelievable mindset in which you can instantly forget everything, it's tough. If I'm a closer, I'm coming out, okay, what if they need me in the 9th? What if they need me in the 9th? I'm waiting the whole game to get in, and if I don't have it that day, I'm screwed. So, I mean, I don't like the idea of having a closer. I do like the idea of bringing a guy in the 9th inning if you need him, and hopefully he can get you out of a game. That's why I like the closer by committee thing. If Cody Allen's feeling good one night, you put him in there. If Brian Shaw's feeling good the next night, you put him in there. John Axford. I mean, Axford. Just because he got taken out of the closer role doesn't mean that Axford should be completely barred from the 9th inning. I mean, the guy still does have good stuff. He can throw hard. He can throw his finesse pitch as well. Again, he's not locating well right now, but if he can locate, I mean, he can still be a very effective pitcher. So again, I'm very much against the whole closer philosophy, especially in non-save situations, but against the closer philosophy in general. And I think the Indians bullpen is good enough to be without a closer. Just bring in guys that can get the job done night after night, a la Cody Allen, a la Brian Shaw, a la. I mean, even if Zepchinski wants to get in there, I mean, I just think whichever pitcher you think is going to get the job done that night, that's the guy you need to throw out there. If your confidence in Axford isn't high, if Tito doesn't like Axford, there's no point in throwing him in there. Or if Axford's confidence isn't high, there's no point in him walking out there. So again, I don't like the idea of the closer role. I do love the idea that hopefully this closer by committee thing is a long-term thing, not just a one-night or a one-time ordeal.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We were just talking about this earlier, and I was talking about this on Twitter too yesterday or a couple days ago, where I believe that that the evolution of Mariano Rivera has been what has led to this new philosophy with closures and set roles. Because we moved away from when Rivera came in, we had moved away from the traditional starters. We're seeing more innings limits, more pitch limits. Relievers weren't going 3 innings as much anymore. The 3-inning save wasn't a thing anymore, like in the days of Goose Gossage and guys like that. But so we were starting to see these one inning specialized relievers. But the problem is, not everybody's going to be Mariano Rivera. Now we've been lucky today nowadays to see guys like Craig Kimbrell and Aroldis Chapman who are there's no argument that they're destined to be in the closer role because of the stuff that they possess and what they can do in the ninth inning. But if you don't have those guys, there's really no point in there's really no point in having a set closer. And another thing I don't like about the philosophy is the fact that you have to leave your closer in there until he actually blows the lead. And that's the thing I think that will be eliminated with this closer by committee thing. So think about how many games could be salvaged if you were able to pull your closer if he was struggling. It's kind of an unwritten rule in this philosophy of in baseball right now that that one of the things that kind of irks me. And I think that you should be able to pull a reliever at any point in a game in any inning if he's struggling and be able to go to somebody else and not have to wait until he blows a team's lead or whatever to have to pull him. So that's just my thoughts on the whole closer situation.
Yeah, again, we've seen it before where this closer by committee thing. I think it just works much better. I just think it's a pressure thing. It takes a lot of pressure off. A guy's not waiting around for 8 innings and oh, am I going to go? They're going to count on me for the ninth inning. I'm screwed. I just think again, you have to be a special kind of person. You got to be a special kind of pitcher to be a closer. And a lot of times I feel like closers are normally just guys who have good stuff for an inning and then lose it. So, again, very much against the whole closer idea. Love the idea of closer by committee, which in essence isn't closing at all. It's just bringing a guy in the ninth inning to get through another inning. That's how the philosophy should be. Get through another inning, because that's all it is. At the end of the day, the ninth inning is another inning that you got to get through without any runs.
Yeah, and that goes back to me. I think that only we're just going to start seeing more of this because guy, what's his name, Collins over with the Mets, he's experimenting with this too. But except his problem is he has literally nobody who is capable of closing right now full time. I mean, we're talking about a team that had Jose Valverde closing games for a little while this season. So he's trying the closer by committee thing. Tito's doing the closer by committee, and I think that as over the next couple of seasons, we might see more of that and less of the specialized closer guys on team, specifically designated to be closers on teams, unless they're Craig Kimbrell or Aroldis Chapman or whoever you want to name dominant closer right now. I just think that that's something that we will see more of, and that's just another thing that we're going to see with the evolution of baseball and with the modern age of advanced metrics and everything like that. I mean, I know a bunch of sabermetrics guys are not don't like the closer role either. They don't like the win statistic and stuff and things like that. So as that evolves, I think so will baseball.
Yeah, I mean, again, I do. I agree with I agree with the sabermetrics guys. It's not a statistically good position to put your team in, and it's not a good. It's really not good for anybody. You have once in a while you have the Mariano Riveras of the world. I mean, that's the thing. How many Mariano Riveras have there been? There's only one. Okay, and then you have maybe a guy like Dennis Eckersley. Kimbrel's got, I think, might be another one. Even Aroldis, though, I think he's only good because he's got the stuff. If he didn't have this, if you take 4 miles an hour off of his pitches, I don't think he's doing nearly as well. So, again, I think it's more about just getting the job done rather than having a specific guy that you throw in there every single time, no matter what he's feeling that day. I just don't like that idea at all.
Yeah, so back to the game, though. Appears that Nigel Morgan, who came in for Michael Brantley, is already being pulled with an apparent injury, so it will be Jose Ramirez coming into the game, and supposedly, I guess Michael Brantley may be moving, or Mike Gavilas will be moving into left field. So, man, this is not good to see two outfielders go down and have to be pulled from a game in one night. So we'll see what happens there. But I want to talk about Niger Morgan a little bit later on the show. We might as well get into this now. Our news from the Wigwam segment, get you caught up on what's happened since we last talked to you. Jason Kipnis is placed in the DL with an oblique injury. Jose Ramirez called up. He's currently being in the game right now. He'll be batting third. John Axford removed from the closer role we talked about. Niger Morgan recalled from AAA after Bourne was out for a couple of days with being bothered with that hamstring again. Carlos Carrasco moved to the bullpen. Josh Tomlin called up. He takes the fifth spot in the rotation. He's been solid so far. Jason Giambi's back on the DL, and if you ask me, I think he's going to be there for a while. And some historic notes from a game last weekend, I believe. No, actually 2 weekends ago. Corey Kluber, who is pitching tonight, set a franchise mark for most consecutive strikeouts, passing up Bob Feller with 7 in a game against the White Sox. And in that same game, George Gutierrez, who was here only for, I think, 1 or 2 games, became the first Indian to hit home runs and his first 2 at-bats with the team. So that's what's going on the Indians front. And then just breaking news now, Michael Brantley pulled from a game with back tightness, and Niger Morgan's been pulled after being in for, I think, only an inning for Brantley. He's pulled with an apparent injury. We'll get more details as they come. But any thoughts on on any of this news? Kipnis out for a while with the oblique injury. That's a big blow to this lineup. But even though they've been able to pick up the slack, I'd say just barely without him. What do you think about? And Jose Ramirez called up. What do you think about his performance so far?
They haven't used him enough. I think they're, Tito's a veteran guy. He's not really a rookie guy, and I think it's showing with Jose. Jose could have brought a lot of, energy to this lineup, and the times that he has been in there, he's done some good things, but I just don't think he's getting enough right now. I don't think Tito trusts him enough for whatever reason, and kind of a shame because I think he really could bring a spark to this offense. Maybe just getting on base, getting over. That's one thing the Indians we thought would be better at, would be stealing bases, and thus far it just hasn't shown. So, would have liked to have seen Jose more.
Yeah, I agree, but he's got to take advantage of what he's given. I mean, sporadic playing time is tough on any player, especially a rookie. But he hasn't really been setting the world on fire with the opportunities he has been given so far. So I think he might be heading back to AAA once Kipnis gets activated again, which probably was the plan all along. But I'm a little disappointed, not in Ramirez particularly, but just that he didn't get enough playing time to show what he can do more. But who knows? With this, this outfield injury situation is serious. He might stay up longer. Maybe we'll see someone like I don't know, Matt Carson. I don't know, Carlos Moncrief, an outside shot. Maybe they move Swisher back to the outfield and they bring up Aguilar to cover him at first base. There's a lot that could happen here, but
You're
first
talking
and
about
foremost,
you're talking about who's going to replace in the outfield?
If this injury situation is serious, I hope. I was just gonna say, I hope.
I got a name for you.
Yeah.
Lonnie.
You know what? I know that they were giving him some reps, during some workouts in the outfield, also at first base. That might be something interesting to see because Lonnie, he's proven. It's without a doubt now that he's hitting well now, and he's establishing himself as an offensive player now, and he's got to be in the lineup every day. So, who knows? Maybe they try him out in the outfield in one of these games.
There's almost no reason not to at this point, especially if you have guys that are getting injured. do you really risk? I mean, he's already been bouncing around as it is. Do you really risk anything by playing him in the outfield? Uh, I can't seem to think that you would. And again, it would make this anytime you can get him in the lineup, it would make the lineup better at this point. So I would do everything they can to keep him in there, and I think a move to the outfield might not be too bad a decision.
Yeah, when I heard that they were trying him out at some different positions, especially the outfield, that was what I was interested in, and that I thought that we might see something become of that with Santana, of course, garnering the majority of the playing time at third base. But yeah, we'll see what becomes of that but first and foremost we hope that Morgan and Brantley are okay and that it's nothing serious because we can't afford to lose either one of them. Morgan's been a spark plug for us since he was recalled from AAA, and even before he got sent down he was playing well for us. And then of course Brantley is Michael Brantley, so you don't want to lose his bat in the lineup and or his glove in the outfield. So you just hope that this isn't anything serious and they're not going to be out too long. But another thing I want to talk about with the Indians news is Carlos Carrasco being moved to the bullpen. I think that was something that we saw coming sooner or later. And then Josh Tomlin gets called up over Trevor Bauer. Is that something you were surprised by, or do you think that was the right decision? And what do you think of Tomlin's performance so far?
You had to go with Tomlin. Trevor Bauer has been nothing but inconsistent since he's joined the Indians, and again that showed again last night. Allowed 4 home runs in 1 inning. Had a terrible outing. I want to be as fair as I can, but Trevor Bauer, I would almost just get rid of him, man. I can't deal with him. He's one of those guys that's got all the talent in the world, but he's not worth the fuss. He's not worth the red flags. He's not a guy that's worth. He's not a guy that's worth the ego. He's not a guy that's worth the fact he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He's not worth going through all the frustration of trying to teach him the things that he needs to learn about pitching at the major league level because he thinks he knows everything already. He thinks he knows about, just because he knows the numbers and he knows the stats and he knows everything, yes, he's an incredibly smart human being, and yes, he knows he's smart. That's entirely the problem with him. He thinks he's too smart for everybody that's around him, and he's never going to get better until he starts actually listening to the people who have been in the game the longest. I understand that baseball is a very scientific game, and there are a lot of numbers, but it's not all about numbers, and it's not all about scientific, happenings. If that was the case, every team would be a sabermetrics team, and every World Series champion would be a sabermetrical, I guess you could say, sabermetrically solid team, but that's not the case. Baseball isn't completely scientific, and that's what Bauer has to understand. He's got to learn how to get in the right mentality. He's got to grow up, and I just don't think it's worth it. I think if you can get another couple solid players for him on the trade market, I'd do so because at this point it just seems so worthless to me. But Carrasco struggled too. That's not good. But Tomlin is absolutely great. He's his first couple starts in a couple of years were pretty dark. I think has he pitched twice or just once?
The 2 starts since coming back,
and he's looked good in both of them. That's a major league veteran. That's a guy that you want on your team. A good character guy, a good guy that you want around the clubhouse, and a good guy that you want on the mound. You pretty much know what you're going to get with him, and he's been solid. So that was absolutely the right move. I'll defend it till the end. And he's proven everybody right so far.
With Bauer, if this was the end of spring training and we were talking about that, then you made that statement, I probably would have agreed with you. Right now, I still don't totally disagree with you, but with the way I know he had a bad outing last night, but with the way he's pitched so far and with the way he pitched in his spot start with the Tribe, I'm willing to wait just a little bit longer with him. At least give him a chance to when he eventually does get called up here, and I think he will at some point this year. Give him a few starts when he's able to do more time than just a spot start for a doubleheader, and see what he can do with some consistent major league pitching time, since he's been pitching so well up until last night. Um, but with Tomlin, you know what? There's nothing really more you can say other than this is the guy that you expect. Other than the fact that maybe he's gotten a little bit better with the getting hitters to swing and miss, or get them to either ground out or pop up the ball a little more. And I was looking at his stats on Fangraphs just in his last two starts. I noticed that he is going away from I believe he used to use a sinker. He's not using that anymore. He's going more to his curveball now, which is kind of new, and it's something I saw in spring training of him, and
Well,
that curveball has really become a difference maker for him. He's getting a few more swings and misses, a few more whiffs, and but he's still, my expectations for him are still somewhat tempered just because of the type of pitcher he is, the way he has to constantly be working inside the strike zone to be able to be effective, and we've seen that. We've seen just in these two starts, even though he's pitched well, he's given up 2 solo home runs. So he is going to get hit from time to time, but if he can limit the damage, I'm perfectly fine with having him in the rotation.
I'm not. I don't know what it is. I'm not okay with him being there. Unless there's an injury, unless there's somebody that's struggling so mightily.
Are you talking about Tomlin or Bauer?
Bauer.
Oh, I was talking about Tomlin.
Oh, I thought you were talking about okay, yeah, no. Sorry about that. I thought I heard Bauer in there somewhere. Yeah, no. Tomlin for sure. I mean, yes, you're right. He does work in the zone, and that's where I kind of got confused a little bit, but because I did think you were talking about Bauer, but no, Tomlin, fantastic. Again, you're right. He's not going to blow you away with this stuff, but he's going to get the job done. So, yes, absolutely. If I said all winter, I guess you could say. I said all winter long that Kluber and McAllister were going to be the guys that were going to bolster this rotation. If they pitch well, then that this team's going to go. And thus far, they've done okay. But if you have a guy like Tomlin in there who's really pitching well as well, I mean, sky's the limit, really.
Yeah. All right. Game update. Jose Bautista doubles. Melky Cabrera scores. It's 4-2 Indians right now in the 6th inning. So I don't know if Bautista got on base before. I would guess no because of he was pitching a perfect game through 4 innings. But Bautista's on base streak extends. I don't know what it's at now. What, 37 games, 38 games, something like that. He's closing in on 40. I know that.
That guy's crazy.
So
the fact that he can get on base 40 nights in a row, I mean, talk about hit streaks, but man, I mean, just if the Indians had a guy like that, I mean, they kind of do in Carlos. Because Carlos is hitting like 140, but he's on base is still like 350, so, I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so Indians still up by 2, but you're starting to get a little anxious there. Hopefully they can score some insurance runs. Moving on though, well, first I want to one last thing on Tomlin. I want to know, and Hiram is going to kill me for this, but I want to know, other than lack of options, what was it that made Carrasco the favorite to, or made Carrasco the candidate for the 5th spot over Josh Tomlin based on their spring training performances? I know that Tomlin struggled a little bit in his last spring training outing, and Carrasco was all right, but other than that, Tomlin pretty much, I think it's pretty safe to say Tomlin outperformed Carrasco in almost every way. So I just don't get it. To me,
I think it was nothing more than potential, honestly, because Carrasco, he showed spurts he's got the stuff, he just doesn't have the mental makeup, and I think that's what they were hoping for. They were hoping that the stuff would pave the way for the mental, and it just never did. So Again, yes, I think it had more to do with the options and more to do with the fact that Carrasco had the potential. Uh, they knew what they were going to get from Tomlin, and I think that that's why they pulled the plug so early. But I think coming out of the gate, maybe give it a shot, see what happens, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah. So I don't know. To me, it just seems like, well, hindsight is 2020, of course, but think about how long we endured Carrasco, and with Tomlin pitching the way he was in AAA, and how it could maybe what could have been with the other way around. I don't know, but it's fixed now. I think the team will be better off this way, at least for the time being.
Absolutely. As we said, Tomlin. I just think Tomlin's an established veteran who knows how to handle those situations. I think his mental makeup is the least of his worries, as opposed to Carrasco. So I'll take a guy with a good attitude, with a good mental capacity, and a good ability to just kind of get rid of get through the struggles of a major league season, rather than a guy who has all the stuff but can't put it together, a la Carrasco, a la Bauer. Give me a guy with a tough mentality, with a good mental makeup, and some decent stuff. I'll take him over those guys any day.
Yep. Breaking news on Nigel Morgan being pulled from tonight's game. He is out. He came out of the game in the top of the sixth due to a mild right knee strain. He is day to day. So, Brantley's got a back issue and Morgan's got a knee issue. So that's two outfielders who are going to be out, probably be without for the next a few days. So, I don't know how they work around that. Maybe Rayburn starts. Maybe shift Murphy over to left field. Put Rayburn in right field. Maybe get Avilas out there. I don't know. I don't think you can't call somebody up unless someone's put on the DL. Maybe get Lonnie out there. Maybe this will be his chance to get some reps in the outfield.
Like I said, Lonnie would be a good option at this point. He's hitting the ball well. If you can get him and Carlos, and maybe add Rayburn in the lineup every night. I mean, Rayburn has struggled a little bit too, so I don't know. It's interesting. It definitely is interesting. They got a lot of injuries right now.
Yeah, and it's not just the Indians; it's all over Major League Baseball, which brings us to our around the league in 80 seconds. I have my stopwatch here, and in a minute and 20 seconds, I'm going to try to buzz through all the league's top stories. And I'm just trying to see if I missed double checking to see if I missed anything. No, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with what I have here. So, got my stopwatch, and Hayden? What's the score? My score so far this year? I think I've done this twice so far. I think I'm 1-1, right?
You're
so far?
1-1. You're 1-1 on the year.
All right, so this is number 3 on the year. So 1-1. I want to try to pull back ahead here. Starting right now. Starting in Miami, Jose Fernandez placed on the DL with a ligament tear. Tommy John surgery will be recommended for the Marlins ace. The Texas, Martin Perez hits DL with elbow inflammation. Scott Baker and Nick Tepesh recalled. And a side note, Justin Germano, former Indians farmhand, was designated for assignment. Chicago, White Sox designated Jeff Keppinger for assignment. To Baltimore, Chris Davis returns to the O's lineup, but Matt Wieters was placed on the DL. A duel out of LA and Seattle, Hisashi Iwakuma returned from the DL, and so did Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. And San Diego, Carlos Quentin returns for the Padres, went 0 for 3 with a walk in his first game. Carlos Beltran in New York, out with a bone spur, surgery possible, but they are going to wait and see what happens with him sitting out for a while. Ryan Braun activated from DL in Milwaukee, but Aramis Ramirez sidelined with a strained hamstring. Padres minor leaguer Rodney Dahl nailed with a 50-game PED suspension. CC Sabathia placed on a deal with knee inflammation. He's expected to visit Dr. Andrews. And Aroldis Chapman striked out the side in his 2014 debut for the Reds. There we go. A minute 19.
There it
So that's
is.
two. That
Boom.
I'm I'm 2 for 1 on the year. A minute 1981 to be specific.
There it
Uh,
is. The
so I
win.
beat
He
the
gets the
buzzer. That
victory.
all right. And I didn't. Do I get the save on that one? Am I traditional closer in this situation?
Yeah.
Am I the Mario Rivera of speed news reading?
I guess you are. You come in the clutch, man.
All right. You know what? I can't disrespect Mo that way. I'll say I'm Craig Kimbrell or Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, okay. You can be Chapman. You bring the
All
heat.
right,
I
I'll be
like it. I
Chapman.
like it.
I bring the heat. All right. Top story. I really want to talk about this because I was watching the I don't know. I was talking to you at the Arrows game or Rubber Ducks game the other day about this. MLB Network had a roundtable special hosted by Bob Costas, talking about the injury situation with pitchers in Major League Baseball right now and all the Tommy John surgery patients. And now, probably the most exciting pitcher in baseball might be heading under the knife for reconstructive elbow surgery, which would be a huge blow to the Miami Marlins because they would look like they might be mounting a contention run. They've been getting some strong pitching and some solid offense. That is to say, at home. On the road, it's been a different story. But what they've done at home has been able to keep them in the running in the AL or the NL East. But losing Jose Fernandez, what does that mean for the Marlins season?
Uh, just awful, first of all. I mean, we try to figure out what's going on, whether it's babying, whether it's, working too. I don't know what the problem is in terms of the Tommy John, but it's not good. Now I'm starting to think that there's a reason for it. I used to just think it was just a bit of a coincidence, but I now think that there's some validity, and I don't know what the problem is. I don't think anybody does, or they'd be fixing it, but just terrible. Jose Fernandez, even as a guy who grew up disliking the Marlins, phenomenal pitcher. That's a guy that you want to see out there. Every time he gets a start, you want to see him. So it stinks. It's absolutely horrible that he's probably going to miss the rest of this year and the rest of next year. Just awful, awful news. But you hope for the best for the guy. If the Marlins, they're done. I mean, that was their. It's just deflating because when you have a star of that caliber, that guy's the best pitcher on the planet Earth. I truly believe that. He has the best. When he pitched against the Indians last year, I fell in love with him. His stuff was just that good, and he threw that hard and just located that well. That's a guy that I thought could dominate the league for 20 years, and I think that he still can, but take another couple of years off that thanks to Tommy John. Just awful, awful, awful. I'm very upset about it. At the same time, however, yeah, the Marlins, that's like having a balloon and just poking it with a needle. I mean, I don't know how much they can get done without him.
Yeah, it's too bad because I picked him to win the Cy Young this year in the National League. So if he's out for the rest of the year, that's I mean, well, I wasn't expecting much to come of my predictions, but Matt Harvey going down last year, and then you have Fernandez going down this year. I mean, that, you can't help if you're a real baseball fan, you can't help but feel sorry for these guys. Not just because you feel not just because of how exciting pitchers they are, but because these are young guys who are representing the up and coming face of baseball, at least on the pitcher's mound, and they are already having to deal with elbow issues and reconstructive surgery. And of course, the surgery is being perfected now, and it's becoming more routine, which is unfortunate, but it's true. And guys are the success rate of Tommy John surgery is much better this year than it was, say, just a few years ago. Guys like they were talking about this on the MLB Network special. Guys like, for example, Adam Wainwright has been had the surgery, and he's been obviously very very effective for the Cardinals as their ace. And you hope the same is true for Harvey and for Fernandez and all these other pitchers who are uh, Gerard Parker, Patrick Corbin, and so many of these guys. I think we're if will be up to like 14 or 15 if Fernandez elects to undergo the surgery. So that's a big blow not only to the Marlins but to the game of baseball because of what Fernandez represents as far as the future of the game.
Again, such a shame. That guy's the most talented pitcher on earth, and we're not going to see him for 2 years. Awful.
Yeah, so but it is good to see guys like Clayton Kershaw and Hisashi Iwakuma back. Kershaw, Dodgers need. I mean, they haven't been playing badly, but they could be playing better, especially with the way that the Giants are running that division right now. So getting Kershaw back is big for them. And with the Rangers struggling, the Mariners might have a chance to make a run at the Angels and the A's. Getting Akuma back is good. They could get Tyon Walker back. That would be great too. Other than that, nothing really to discuss that I thought that was of any interest. Sabathia going on a DL with knee inflammation. He hasn't been doing all that well this year, even with the more trim look. What do you think about CC Sabathia's career? Is he getting toward the end of the line?
It's obvious. I mean, he kind of when he got traded to the Yankees was when he was in his prime. Those couple of years, the first 2-3 years. Now you can see the decline. I think it's good. I think it's good that he got thin, that he's looking out for his health. Because at the end of the day, baseball isn't forever. And he could have stayed like that. He could have stayed the big old 350-pounder that he was. But I think it was a wise decision for him to lose that weight. And maybe it's affecting him now, but I think at the end of the road he'll be happy he did it. But yeah, no, I think he's definitely made him a worse pitcher just because I don't think he's used to pitching that light. When you lose a lot of weight, I mean, it's when you lose a lot of weight, it's your body's different. Your body it doesn't feel the same and it doesn't work the same. So I can totally understand where a guy like CC who lost so much weight would be trying to figure things out still. And I think he still can get it together. I think it'll take him a little bit of time to get used to his body, but I think for now it's gonna be a tough road, but he'll get there again. And I think he can finish his career as a decent pitcher. I think again, as you said, I think he's well on his way towards the end. But hey, he's had a good career, and I think he's gonna finish okay.
Yeah, I mean the drop in velocity has been the biggest issue for him, and it's kind of like Ubaldo and
I honestly think, Jake, that drop in velocity is 150% the weight loss.
Yeah.
Just because before he had to have all that muscle on his leg to drive off, and now the muscle's probably half of what it was before. His arms probably aren't as muscular as they were before. I think there's a lot of muscle there that he probably lost that he probably doesn't even realize. So, again, I think it's all just has to do with, I think the loss of velocity plus the weight loss definitely has made pitching a very different thing from what it used to be for him.
Yeah, I agree. So who knows if he can make adjustments or not? But the Yankees are starting to drop a little bit. I can't. If anybody is actually genuinely surprised by that, then you need to you need to pay closer attention because I know we talked about this. We both saw this coming. Teixeira has been dealing with issues. Beltran's injured right now. CC is on the DL. I'm surprised Jeter is still out there playing. I mean, good for him to be able to stay out there and play every day. I think Ellsbury's still out there playing well, but the problem is these injuries are going to come for the Yankees, and whether they can weather the storm like they did last year, who knows? But I said before the season, and I still stick by it that the Yankees making the playoffs this year is going to be a long shot.
Yep, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it, just like they did last summer. They're not going to end up. Boston's struggling a little bit right now, but they're going to find their groove. The Rays are struggling right now. They're going to find their groove. Baltimore, Ubaldo's pitching better, as I said that he would, or at least I thought to myself that he would. Um, they're going to get back in the race too. The Yankees just don't have enough. That division's too tough.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know about the Rays. I mean, I picked them to go to the World Series this year, but they're
No.
they've been y- they've been showing their human side with these injuries. I mean, they got hammered with injuries with the Alex Cobb, Hellickson, uh, and it's just been a rough go for them. Um, uh, that that's pretty much all that's going on around the league right now that I want to talk about. Oh, before we wrap up tonight, there's one segment I want to get to called "The Good, Bad, and the Ugly." We're getting to the quarter point of the season, and I wanted to look back and reflect back on what the Indians have done so far. They've kept their head above water
Wait,
despite all
that's
the problems that they've had.
that's crazy. It's not even the quarter point of the season. Unbelievable. It feels like we're almost in the playoffs already. That's good though. That's good. I love you believe me, I love the fact that it's not even the quarter point yet. So much more baseball left.
Yeah. So I was looking at some of the elements of the team that have been going good for the Tribe so far, and some that have been bad, some that have been ugly. The good, I think, has been the starting pitching. They struggled a little bit to start the year, but over, I'd say, the past month or so, after those first couple weeks in April, they really started to put it together and find a groove. Corey Kluber has really emerged as a great number two guy behind Masterson. Some of you might even argue that he's out pitching Masterson right now. He's the ace of the staff. Zach McAllister's been, for the most part, very consistent. You got Danny Salazar starting to figure it out a little bit. Carrasco, finally that experiment ended, and we got Tomlin back there. We talked about him. Um, and I'm not forgetting anybody, am I?
Tomlin, correct. McAllister, Salazar. I mean, Salazar's gotten back into
Nope.
it.
He was lighting up the radar gun a little bit. I heard in his last start.
Yeah,
So
he
it looks like
finally got back up.
he's starting to find the. So it might be heating up with the temperatures. So that'll be nice to see. But it was nice to me. I think that this little drop in velocity might actually have been good for him because it gave him a chance to learn how to be a pitcher rather than just being a thrower. And I think that he learned to adjust to that a little bit better. And maybe now that his velocity's back up, maybe he can still work on being a pitcher rather than just being a thrower. Because I think that that's what uh, that's what got to him during the wild card game last year. Delman Young, that home run. That was, I think, I don't know if he feels the same way, but I think that was the turning point for Danny Salazar and realize that you can't no matter how fast you throw that fastball, you can't always just expect it to throw it past his hitters. And Delman Young's shown that as well as other hitters since then. So the sooner he learns how to be a pitcher, the better. And I think he's starting to make that adjustment.
Yeah, and again, as you said, once that velocity, I think the velocity is definitely going to help him. If he can learn to combine, being a thrower with a pitcher, I think that you're going to see a good Danny Salazar as well.
Definitely. More of the good. David Murphy and Michael Brantley. I mean, I got to give them, as far as at least on defense, I got to give them co-MVP awards right now because for pretty much the whole month of April, the offense was terrible when it came to hitting with runners in scoring position. But it was pretty much Michael Brantley and David Murphy who kept things going, and kept the team in games. They were pretty much the whole offense as far as driving in runs for a while there. Now things are starting to pick up a little bit, uh, but these guys have been unbelievable, and I shudder to think of where we would be if we didn't have them in our lineup to start the year.
Yeah, I'd say less Murphy. I'd say more Brantley and Morgan. I think Nyjer Morgan has definitely provided a spark after that month of April. Murphy was good when when they really needed somebody, but I think Nyjer has definitely supplied that as well. So I'd say definitely Brantley, Morgan, Murphy. The outfield has been pretty solid. Bourne has been awful, so that's for another conversation. But yeah, so I'd say the good, as you said. Starting pitching has been good. Bullpen's been relatively good as well, in terms of just, and I think
Yeah,
that stems from good starting pitching. The bullpen's been, good. Of course, Axford's struggle here and there, but everybody else has been pretty very well, has done very well this season. And then you also have some of the offense. You got Brantley, Murphy, and Morgan, who have really been hitting the ball. And I guess you can put Lonnie on that list as well. Lonnie's definitely come into his own. So that is my good for this year thus far.
yeah, yeah. I love the David Murphy signing from day one, just because of the type of hitter he is, and that he doesn't do too much. He doesn't even try to drive the ball a lot. He'll one of my favorite things to watch with David Murphy is just to watch him slap the ball the other way the way he does. That bases loaded 3-run double. I think it was against either the White Sox or the Blue Jays. It was a Sunday day game, and the Indians I think they needed a win to clinch the series, and David Murphy came through in the clutch with uh, an RBI double, and he didn't even drive the ball. All he did was he barely swung his bat. It almost looked like a check swing, although he did swing all the way through it. But he made contact with the ball actually behind the plate, and just slapped it down the third baseline into left field, and ended up going for a double. And
Yeah, I
that's
believe
something
that was
that
the
I love watching him do. Yeah, that I remember that, and I'm just watching him hit the ball the opposite field the way he does. I wish more hitters would take cues from him on learning how to just slap the ball the other way more, rather than just trying to be a dead red hitter and swing the crap out of every fastball you see or anything over the plate.
Nick
And I
Swisher
think
take
that
note.
some artists, yeah, Nick Wisher definitely take note. I mean, every time he grounds into that shift, man, I love him, but that that that's hard to watch every time. Every time you can almost predict it. Uh, they put shift on him, he's just going to ground the ball to the second baseman. I mean, if there wasn't a shift, it might be a base hit, but they're wise to him, so he needs to learn how to hit the ball the other way more. And I think that Murphy is giving these guys tips on how to do it. Maybe we'll see uh, start to play out in the field, but I love Murphy, and I think that he's been huge for the team, especially with runners in the scoring position. Batting, I don't know if this has changed, but I think he's been batting over 400 with running scoring position last time I checked so far this year.
Yeah, Murphy's definitely been good. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I kind of did a little mini study on him, and I just said that basically, he had the worst year of his career last year, and even then, he was better than Drew Stubbs. So, um, I think that if he can continue to be David Murphy, the Indians will be very, very well off. They'll be great.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So let's move on to the bad. The bad to me, I would say, is boils down to one person, and that's Carlos Santana at the plate. And even though he's been getting on base, which is I guess you could take that as a positive sign. He's not he's not getting overly frustrated to the point where his on base percentage is going to also drop with his batting average. So I guess that's reason for hope, but still, it. I think he has the worst or like the second worst batting average among qualifying players so far this year, and he has times where get like 2 hits in a game, or he'll get like hit 2 games in a row, and you think he's snapping out of it, then he gets right back into a funk, and I don't know if it's the change. He said himself it was the change of position that was weighing on him, uh, but I don't know what to say about him right now, other than the fact that, like I just said at the top of the show, the power is there, the on base percentage is there. It's just making contact in between when he's not hitting home runs. That's where he's struggling so far.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm pretty impressed with what Carlos has done thus far. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but the fact that he's been able to keep himself in the lineup despite hitting in the below the Mendoza line is just absolutely flabbergasted. I mean, I'll take a guy just like I'll take a guy on the mound who has a better mental, a better mental or a better mindset than he has stuff like a Josh Tomlin, like a Corey Kluber. I mean, those are two guys that their mindset outweighs their stuff, and I think that that's what makes them so valuable. I'll take a guy who can give you a quality at bat every single time he's at the plate. Maybe he hits 220, but if he gives you a quality at bat every single time, like Carlos has this season, I mean, when he's struck out, it's usually on a 3-2 count. When he's not hit the ball over the fence, it's normally been on a 3-2 count. I mean, he works the count every time. He's walking like crazy, and that's incredibly effective. So again, people hate Swisher, and I understand why he's not putting up the numbers that you expected him to. But at the same time, he will give you a decent at bat every time. Yes, he'll swing out of his shoes, but he's also a decently patient hitter, and I think his biggest problem is just trying to come through or trying to pull the ball too much, not going enough opposite field, not seeing the ball well enough through contact. But again, I'll take a guy, not a Michael Bourne, not a Asdrubal Cabrera. Those two guys don't do well enough in terms of giving you solid at bats. But I'll take guys like Swisher and Santana who at least give you a quality at bat every time. Because eventually I think those quality at-bats are going to turn into hits, and then those hits are going to turn into runs, and those runs are going to turn into wins. So I think it's only a matter of time before Carlos gets hot because he has too good of an eye. He's too good of a hitter to not, at least reach 220 by the end of the year. And I know that's not good, but it's definitely better than what he's doing right now. So you're going to see Carlos come into his own. You're going to see Swisher come back to maybe he'll hit 230. Hope maybe he'll get 20 home runs. But again, I'll take those two guys who give you quality looks every time rather than, Asdrubal Cabrera who swings at the first pitch and grabs to do a double play like he did tonight. Or a Michael Bourne who just looks at 2 strikes and then swings a strike 3. I don't get it. But so yeah, I'm pretty impressed with what Carlos has done thus far. To have a 350, 340, I don't know exactly what the number is, but to have it an OBP that's respectable while you're hitting below the Mendoza line just proves what a good hitter he is and that he is going to come out of this funk.
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to update you on the game, give you folks an update on the game. Corey Kluber, another dominant start for him. Went 7 innings, gave up only 2 runs. He was perfect through the first 4 innings. And I wanted to read this. Our editor, Tony Lasoria, tweeted. He says, "Folks, Corey Kluber is a stud. His emergence at stat base is amazing considering a standing a year ago. He's the Indians' version of James Shields." Would you agree? Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah. I mean, he's that. Like I said before, man, they call Big Game James. Why do they call him Big Game James, Jake? Because he pitches well in big games. Why does he pitch well in big games? It's up here. Yes, he's got the stuff, but it's still up here, and that's exactly what Corey Kluber is. Corey Kluber had this the whole time, and now he's developing the stuff, and you're putting it together, and you're seeing a dominant pitcher go out there every single time. That's the difference. That's what you need. You don't need a Trevor Bauer who's loopy and comes up with thousands of pitches, but he can't throw them over the plate. You need a guy that's focused, and then you develop the stuff. I'd rather see a guy, again, it's all about mindset. All about mindset.
Yeah, also, Asdrubal Cabrera, top of the 8th, singles to drive in Jose Ramirez, Indians 7-2. Cabrera, 14 for his last 28, so he is batting 500. He has 3 more hits tonight, so you know what? I know that Cabrera is...
Of course, when I call him out. Yeah.
You know what? I was just about to say, when last week I said, I was so frustrated with Cabrera, I said, I am done. I want him off my team. I wouldn't mind if I never saw him again. After that, he's been batting like 600 since then. And he almost hit for the cycle. He almost hit for the cycle the next day after I made that statement on Twitter. Isn't that just like baseball? I mean,
he's just doing it to spite everybody, Jake. That's the problem.
I know. I know. See, that's why I love baseball, though, and that's why I don't try to avoid making these statements because I know that nature of the game, and I know that you're more likely to be proven wrong than anything if you make a bulletin like that. So that I mean, so I reached the end of my rope with Cabrera, but he's pulling me in. I'm not. I don't know if I'm ready to get back on yet, but uh, and I was just thinking, you know what, if he's hitting this well with me off the bandwagon, then you know what, go to town.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
So, going back to what we were discussing before, though, the ugly, and I think that you and I would both agree that the ugliest thing of this team so far has been the defense. I didn't see it coming. I Young Gomes, the way he's been struggling behind the plate, uh, left side of the infield with Cabrera and Santana and Chisenhall, I can understand. Swisher hasn't been all great at first base, except for maybe a few exceptional games this year. Uh, the outfield hasn't been terrible, but man, I don't know. This defense, they lead the league in errors so far this year. I think they're closing in on 40. They have like 38 or something like that, 37 or 38. Uh, what what is going on with this defense, man? Is it just that the errors are piling up, and maybe these guys can't relax, they're pressing too hard, and they can't focus, and
I
I don't. Is it something that's just a fluke that will go away over time?
No, I think it was initially a lack of focus. I really do. You know, that's the only thing you can chalk it up to. You can't. I don't think defensively you can chalk it up to pressure. I really don't. You know, these are. You know, for most of the spring, these guys work on defense. I mean, it was. Well, I guess it's just me now, but defensively, I really don't think that you can just uh, chalk it up to chalk it up to anything else that's outside of a lack of lack of focus. I mean, that's all defense is at the end of the day. It's being focused on the at bat, being ready, knowing where to go with the ball at all times. I remember when I played, you know, that's the first thing on your mind is where, you know, with different situations, where am I going with the ball in this play? Where am I going with the ball if this happens? Where am I going with the ball if I get it? So that's a big thing, and it cost the Indians a lot of games this year. That, you know, just giving guys extra outs and giving them extra opportunities. So definitely, the defense has definitely been the ugly of the Indian season thus far. And as we still wait for Jake, I mean, Yan Gomes, that's another surprise defensively. A guy who last year you couldn't run on. This year he's throwing balls all over the field. He's throwing to center field. He's not getting guys out. Could that be a result of just more playing time? Yes, but at the same time, it's just kind of weird because, you know, when he was behind the plate last year, he was so good, and you'd only expect him with more time and more practice to be better. But thus far, that has not been the case at all. That has been actually the opposite of the case. So, again, defensively, the Indians continuing to look better, not look great. Um, you know, I think it might have been last night. No, in Tampa, whenever that was, with Zepchinski throwing the ball away with a potential inning-ending double play. They still won that game, but that's an example right there of what you can't do on defense. You can't get a routine double play ball and throw it into center field. That's going to give you extra chances. You know, even tonight, the Blue Jays. I mean, the Indians were on the other side of it this time, but the Blue Jays, I forget exactly what the play was, but I think it was a grounder to first base by Swisher. Went to second base. Lind got the ball, threw it to second base, and it just escaped. It escaped out of Reyes' gloves. So again, the defense will only hurt you if you continue to play this way. I think they're definitely going to switch it up, and I think they're definitely going to turn it around. And I think they already have turned it around just because they're more focused on it. Because it's been such a problem, that's where their focus is going to lie. So I think ultimately, and welcome back, Jake, I think that the defense is going to turn around. And I think you're going to see a much more solid defensive effort just because it's going to be a focus rather than a lack of focus.
Yeah, sorry about that. My computer dropped my call for some reason, but I'm back now. About the defense, though, I think that it might be something that would pass over. But man, it's just weird how this entire team could struggle so much defensively for so long. It seems like we're almost just about every game there's been an error. Even the pitchers, we've seen pitching errors and multiple pitchers errors in games. I mean, that's a rarity, and that might just be saying that these guys are trying too hard or whatever. But I think that I don't believe that this is something that will last 162 games. But this makes me. I tell you what, this makes me just long for Francisco Lindor at Double A, and me
Oh,
working at in
oof.
Akron all year, I get to watch him play every day, and he's made some more fine defensive plays just these last couple of days that I've seen that could be highlight reel plays if he was in the major leagues right now,
That guy,
and
that guy just makes the or toughest plays look so simple, man. If you haven't gone to Canal Park to watch him, just I hope you get to see a ground ball up the middle. He'll snag it, throw it to first like it was nothing. I mean, that guy's got range. He's got major league ability. I mean, if it was strictly based on defense, I think Francisco Lindor would be a major leaguer right now. Of course, offensively he's decent or he's good as well, but I just don't think he's exactly ready yet.
yeah, I mean he's getting hot now, and yeah, I agree. Watching him alone is worth the price of admission. Um, but yeah, I don't want to get off on a tangent here because we're actually over time. But hopefully the defense gets better. I don't think we have any errors tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Blue Jays have 2 errors with none. Indians lead 9-2. And speaking of David Murphy, he just came through with another RBI hit. So he's been doing well with runners in scoring position this year. So now we turn over to Brian Shaw, and I'm guessing Cody Allen would be on to finish it off in the ninth inning, or maybe Scott Atchison or someone. With a 7-run lead, you pretty much put anybody in there. Maybe even put Axford in there and see, because they put him in there last night, and he looked all right last night. I was able to watch him from the Canal Park team shop when he was in the
Like
game,
yeah,
and he looked all right.
like I said, Axford has good stuff. He throws hard. He's got good stuff. He's got good breaking pitches, but man, I think it's all about the mentality, and I think he's got a good mentality, but I think the pressure can get to him sometimes. I'd love to see him in the seventh or eighth every now and then. I mean, he does have good stuff, and he can get guys out, as we've seen. At one point, he was the American League leader in saves. I mean, that's not a mistake. That guy's a good pitcher. Maybe bring him in the seventh every now and then. Bring him in the eighth. I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem with seeing him in the ninth inning every time, where obviously he's not getting the job done. Maybe even go back to him in the ninth every now and then. But I think for now, there needs to be a spot for him because I like him as a pitcher. I really do. I think he's got good stuff, good velocity, and I think if you take the pressure off of him, I think he's only going to show you good things from the mound.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And I think that I think that a lot of fans have been too harsh on him. And I don't blame them just because of how just what they've had to put up with in the ninth inning and over the last several years. But I wouldn't be so quick as to lump Axford in with the 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 Borowskis, Wickham's of the world, or Wickham or Wickman. I keep forgetting.
Wickman.
Wow,
Bob Wickman, man.
that Wickman, yeah, yeah. So I wouldn't be so quick as to lump him in with those guys
Well,
because I think that's better stuff.
Wickman was never bad
Uh,
Wickman was a consistent closer with the Indians. I think that's the last consistent closer the Indians have had. I mean, Borowski had one good year, but Wickman was pretty much the last guy the Indians had that was a consistently good closer, unless there's somebody I'm absolutely forgetting about. Uh, I don't think so. I think that was the last consistent guy the Indians had.
all right, so we're about to wrap things up here. We got some fan feedback. Who do you think will be the closer at the end of the season? Of course, you and I believe that the closers by committee should be something that they maintain. Uh, Jeanette tweets me and says, Axford rebounds with a vengeance. That I wouldn't mind seeing that. I hope I in fact I hope he is able to rebound with a vengeance. Uh, and District of Manziel tweets as a joke, Andy Marte. Uh, so
I'm just gonna do
I
that
know
till the
that
show ends. I'm just gonna do this till the show ends, so it's fine.
we could talk about Johnny Manziel, but this is a baseball show, and I want to keep baseball and football separate.
There you go.
But
Good for you. But
yeah,
seriously.
another guy, another guy I wanted to bring up though, who's been pitching, or two guys I should say, that are pitching very well. That could be future closers. I wouldn't say this year, but maybe with the next couple of years, because they're pitching very well in that role right now. I'll two names: Sean Armstrong and Kyle Crockett. Both have been lights out for Double A Akron right now. Crockett has 6 saves on the year. Armstrong, I don't know off the top of my head. I would guess like maybe 3, 4, something like that. Um, but they have both been pitching very well for Akron right now, and I don't know if they could be if the Indians plan to use them as closers. But all I know is right now that they have been pitching as close for at the Double A level, and they've been doing a very good job of it. So just two names to keep on the back burner for now.
I think Kyle Crockett, Nick Camino tweeted today, Nick Camino of WTAM, the WTAM Indians beat reporter, tweeted today that he believes the Indians have Crockett on the fast track. That's something I heard last season, was that Crockett was on the fast track to the major leagues. They are really impressed with that guy. He's made his way up very quickly. I think you're going to see him in an Indians uniform before the year is done. A good, solid left-handed reliever. And as Tito loves that bullpen, so if you can get a guy like that to help you out, Kyle Crockett definitely looking good.
Yeah, I really like him watching him pitch. I mean, he's a guy he's not a situation. I've seen him get into jams, and he just gets outs. There's no other way to explain it. He just knows how to go up there, get guys out, no matter what the situation is.
Yeah, I mean he's a great pitcher thus far.
I I agree. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. The Indians, again, they lead 9-2 over the Blue Jays. They're going to be able to even this series. Corey Kluber solid once again. Michael Brantley, Nigel Morgan pulled from the game with injuries. Hope they are not out too long. Dave Murphy, big with the bat again. Drew Cabrera, 3 more hits. He continues to swing a hot bat. And just final thoughts. I've been pitching this all on Twitter today and pretty much all season long. You folks, if you're watching, if you live in Northeast Ohio, you absolutely need to get down to Canal Park this year. Hayden, you've been down there all this week, all over the weekend, and filming for IBI site, which I was happy to, and it was a privilege to be able to film a segment with you that we should be airing on the site soon.
It'll be up.
Hayden, you've been down there. You know, it's like the Rubber Ducks are wet. The Rubber Ducks are scorching hot right now. They are 26-13, 4.5-game lead in the division. Great baseball being played, some exciting prospects, and a lot of great changes at the ballpark. They're really just a great place to see a baseball game, and just take the family out, have some fun. Renovations at Canal Park are amazing, and I just can't say enough of what Ken Babby has done and about what the organization represents right now with the players and prospects that are there right now. So that's just my thought. Get down to Canal Park if you haven't already.
Yeah, I mean Canal Park is well. Jake left again after his Rubber Ducks plug, but I do love going down there. A lot of great prospects down there in Akron at Canal Park. You should get up to all the teams. Go see Lake County. Clint Frazier is definitely a guy that you got to keep your eye on. 2014 first round pick Clint Frazier. or 2013 first round pick Clint Frazier. Go see them. Columbus isn't too far. Go down there. I mean, there's a lot of great. That's one thing that the Indians are blessed with. The Indians are blessed with a really good minor league organization, and maybe not in terms of their development or players over the last couple of years, but now you're kind of starting to see that there are a lot of guys in the system that you can go see on a pretty consistent basis, and they're not too far from home. So the Indians have that going for them. So I would definitely make your way to Canal Park, to Huntington Park, and to Classic Park out there in East Lake. As for me, check out IBI on site. It comes to you every single Tuesday, except for not this coming Tuesday. It'll be out. It'll be from Akron. The next Tuesday it won't be out. So that'll be the only time this summer, hopefully, that the show does not air. I'll be going down to Florida. My sister's graduating high school, so there will be no show in 2 weeks from now. But next Tuesday, I'll be coming to you live from Akron. We already talked to the guys who are just producing it and putting all the stuff together. I'm putting all the stuff together, producing it. Was happy to have Jake on with me to talk a little bit about the Rubber Ducks, as he's been there the entire summer. We talked to David Wallace, and I'll keep the other guests kind of a surprise, but hopefully you enjoyed the shows. If you haven't checked them out already, IBI on site. All 4 episodes that we've done thus far are on the website, and you can check them out. They're only about 15 to 20 minutes apiece, so feel free to check those out. I was just in Columbus. That was the last one that came out yesterday, so the next one will be from Akron, and then we'll try to throw in some surprises in there. We're trying to get to Cleveland. We'll get to Mahoning Valley. We're going to try to get to Carolina as well, so we're going to try to go all around the organization, and again, just try to check out IBI on site. Hopefully you enjoy the show, because it is a lot of fun for me to do, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah, you gotta check this out. I've been following the show on IBI. I watched all the episodes. Hayden, you really do a great job, and I'm not just saying that just to promo your show. You've really, just within a few shows, it has really established an identity, and I know that the feedback has been tremendous. A lot of the regular readers of IBI and subscribers have had nothing but glowing reviews for the show. So keep up the good work. I was glad to be a part of it, and watch out for that next week, coming to you live from Akron, or not live, I should say, pre-recorded from Akron.
Pre-recorded, yes. I'm not good enough to do it. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough equipment to do it live. But yes, no. Hopefully, it'll still be relevant at that time. It will be. The Rubber Ducks will still be a good team.
It's been So the way I was looking up their stats. They're leading the Eastern League in pitching with a 3.38 ERA. They're third in the league in batting and getting on base. So they're doing a lot of good things right now. And again, IBI on site, check that out. It's been a great addition to the website, and a lot of people love it. But that's going to pretty much do it for us tonight. I'm Jake Dungan, and thanks again, Hayden, for joining us tonight. And I hope that we can get back on track and doing this more regularly, and getting back to hopefully within the hour. I know that tonight we went along just because we had so much to cover and talk about since we were away. But summer now, finals are over. We should be back focusing more on baseball, and it should be exciting in Cleveland and Akron and all the minor league affiliates.
Sounds good to me, Jake. Love the summer, man. Love the summer. Can't wait for the warm weather and even more baseball.
Absolutely. So for Hayden Grove, I'm Jake Dungan for Indians Baseball Insider. This is Call of the Bullpen. We'll see you next time.